How to handle lethal curiosity. Do you know what I mean by lethal curiosity? Probably not, because I just thought of the term now. It means people by nature are curious, and people by nature, for some inexplicable reason, do not know how to control their curiosity, even though they know it might be damaging to you. Have you experienced this? Let's say that you took a trip to England and endured terrible experiences all across the board. From the airport, to the airline, to your hotel reservations, to the accommodations, to your tour, and your flight home. And you confided in one of your friends about how disturbing this trip was to you on many levels. Somehow, without fail, your friend, whenever you two get to talking, will after a while into the conversation, say something like, "Hey, are you planning to go back to England?" Or, "Oh, yeah, in 2 weeks I will be traveling to England to have a great vacation." Despite knowing that you associate the former British Empire with nothing but torment. Now, this is by no means to indict England as being an awful place to visit. I am sure it can be a wonderful vacation, but the point is how people will continue to dredge up the past even when you are doing your best to move forward from some unpleasant or even worse, a traumatic experience. Why? Why do people do this? Has this ever happened to you? Why do they seem to have the uncontrollable urge or need to bring you back to that memory which you are trying so hard to expunge from your mind? Did you go through a difficult illness or traumatic event and your friends keep asking you about it? They keep probing? "Hey, what's new? Have you been back to such and such a place where you almost died in a car crash? Hey, have you spoken to your kids recently?" When your friends know that they are estranged from you and treat you as if you were never on the planet. "Hey, did you hear about your ex winning the lottery?" Well, you get the point. What is up with this? I am pretty perplexed on one hand, but I suppose not on the other hand. Yes, let us assume that there are no nefarious intentions on the part of your friends who ask these insensitive questions. Let us assume that perhaps they think that you should be over the event that put you into PTSD in the first place, or you should be over your mourning, and perhaps they really are right. Let's assume that even if they are not motivated by helping you to get over your fears, that they are just out to lunch, just not as sensitive as you are. Clearly, you must be a bit hypersensitive to react the way you have, when you have felt so broken by the events that tore you down in the first place. Alright, so basically that is my first question to you out there. Have you experienced this? Has anyone caused you any discomfort by bringing up events, people, places, or something else that you recoil from, that really digs deep in your old wounds, breaking it open and pouring acid directly into it? I would be grateful actually if you could speak to this type of experience and how you have reacted in the past. Obviously, this just happened to me. I will not say at this moment what specifically was the issue. I am not sure it makes sense to right now, but this good friend of mine, actually someone who I believe does care about me and has my best interests in mind, still, every time he speaks to me, it is the same issue that gets brought up. And tonight I realized why I never call him, because I know I will feel terrible after. So now the question is what to do, how to react to this. Fortunately, the last month, I have been putting out here the facts, the fact that there are going to be storms, and right now I am in the middle of a small one. And I have also been speaking about renewal during this month. The fact is that the bad habit I have targeted conquering this month, I am doing really good with it today. I have not engaged in it the entire day. I attribute it to the desire to make it to the end of the month without being a slave to it. And so far, today, with that awareness, I have been successful. Okay, but now here we go. I get a bit, more than a bit set off, and I know where that usually takes me, back into the bad habits, back into the depression, back into the paralysis and negative thought patterns. So, it is clear that the one bad habit I alluded to before, which I have written about at the beginning of this journey, is not the only one I have to face. I really have to square off against this one, this descent into depression based on an encounter or conversation with a friend that thinks of it as just a mere conversation, nothing very special to attribute to it. So what? He brought up a real hair-trigger issue for me, one that has darkened my days the most over the last decade, one for which I find no solace in anything. There is nothing that ever heals this wound, it remains open and painful, and I am just doing my best to stay distracted from it. Why do I have to go into a tailspin over it? Why really should I go into a tailspin over anything? So this is what I am calling lethal curiosity. It hurts. It is painful. It leaves you worse off than you were before you had the call or before you had lunch together. You do not feel good afterwards. Now I am attempting to formulate a way to handle it. I know how I have handled it before, not well. But now, I have more on my plate. I have my swimming, I have my schooling, I have to study, I want to be productive and really do not want to sit in this quagmire of rotten feelings again. And, we are in the first day of August, the month that I just wrote about trying to be August in August, trying to have a great attitude the whole way through. Perhaps I should not even be aspiring to this since this is not unusual to happen. I will think or declare a goal and immediately obstacles are thrown up in my path. Immediately, please, if you have been in this situation, and you have a technique, or tip or thoughts on how to handle it best, please share. So now, I formulated a response, one that is not necessarily the fix or the solution, but it is different than anything I have ever done over the last decade. I just called this friend. I left him a message. I told him that I know he does not have any bad intentions, but I have to tell him that the path of these conversations is the reason that I do not stay in touch with him. I just realized it. And I am telling him that I want to stay in touch with him, but for now, this is my boundary. I cannot keep experiencing the rotten feelings I have when he brings up this subject. I do not know if this is the answer, but I can say that I do feel a bit better having been clear as to one of the issues that is bugging me. It is enough that I already feel bad about the subject. I do not want to have my face rubbed in it every time we talk. I have to protect my own stability. Ideally, I could handle it and just respond with a cliché answer that would not affect me at all and that would let him know that I am not too interested in talking about it. But what is the point with all the camouflage? Why not be upfront? Why not be direct, truthful? I know that this truth might hurt him in some way because I have set up a boundary and I have also told him that he has been unintentionally causing me pain by talking about this all the time. I apologize that I have not been more forthcoming in the actual issue. I can tell you that it has to do with estrangement within my family. Enough said at the moment because it is my emotional landmine. Having said that, this is how I am going to deal with it. First, I was open to him, left him a message and we will see if he responds or what he says. Second, I am going to drop anchor and rally around that which is fueling me the last month, which is to go swimming. I will get in the pool and keep going with something productive instead of back into the morning pit. And third, I will keep on with my school projects and career plans as best as is possible. I have to make the best life possible irrespective of the estrangement and irrespective of whatever has caused you pain in the past. Have to keep to the program of being August in August. Hope we can all stick to continuous improvement in our lives, despite the obstacles that we are confronted with.